Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first of our Tradition Deep Dive series hosted by the Contemplative Studies Centre at the University of Melbourne. I'm Dr. Cullen Joyce. I'm an Insight Fellow with the Centre. So I'd like to start the deep dive with an acknowledgement of country. I'd like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people who are the traditional custodians of the land on which many of us are, which I am. I'd also like to pay my respects to their elders, the past, present, and those who are emerging. And I'd like to extend my respect to all Indigenous Australians present. Today we are joined by Kristina Mah. Kristina is an artist, designer, researcher and PhD candidate at the Design Lab at the University of Sydney. Her doctoral research investigates how traditional ritual and contemplative practice can inform compassion-driven design in human-computer interaction. Situated at the intersection of philosophy, science, art and design, Kristina's work is motivated by concepts grounded in contemplative wisdom traditions, especially Buddhism, and translated through digital multimedia, installation art, and interaction design. Today, Kristina will be presenting on Tonglen, a Tibetan Buddhist practice for cultivating compassion through a framework for self-observation that can be used to design and for contemplative practice. So this workshop is designed to be interactive, but please note that it is being recorded. So if you prefer to keep your camera and or microphone off, you're welcome to. But please do, you won't be recorded. So you're also welcome to post questions and comments in the chat. So I'd like to welcome you, Kristina. Hello.
Thank you, Cullen, for that lovely introduction. Thank you, and hello, everyone. Very excited about being here. I'd like to thank the Contemplative Studies Centre for inviting me to lead this first event of the Deep Dive series. Yes. To tell you a little bit about myself, I'm a fourth year PhD student at the Design Lab at the University of Sydney. My PhD explores, as Kellen mentioned, ancient wisdom traditions and in particular Buddhism, and how these can inform design and design practice for compassion cultivation. I started by exploring compassion cultivation for design through ritual and meditation, and thinking about how to design collective experiences supporting compassion in public urban contexts such as large festivals. However, I've since shifted my approach around using first-person inquiry to deeply investigate my own experience of compassion cultivation, and carried out a study where I developed a contemplative framework to train myself in self-observation, and that is what we will be trying out a version of today in this workshop. I was introduced to the Contemplative Studies Centre through the Presence of Mind exhibition at Gallery Lane Cove that ran from mid-December until the end of February this year. And I'm excited to share some of the knowledge that has come out of my research, and I hope that you will find it interesting. I'm calling from the land, sorry, I just saw something pop up on Zoom. I'm dialing in from Gadigal lands of the Eora Nation, and I also would like to extend my respects to the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. I acknowledge the lineage of wisdom and contemplative knowledge traditions that we are part of, and I pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and First Nations people here today. I hope that our work can contribute to the contemporary embrace of ancient systems of care and knowledge for self and the environment. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen with you all. All right, so the aim for today's workshop is to practice contemplative inquiry into the lived experience of Tonglen. I'm not sure how many of you have experience or know of this this meditation technique. Perhaps if you've heard about it, maybe you can give a sign, maybe a thumbs up or some kind of sign in or something in the chat. Interested to hear if anyone has already been introduced to this technique. Okay, so just a few people, which is also fantastic, because then I'm very happy to play a part in introducing you to this meditation technique. So today we will try to elicit some of the key experiential qualities from the experience through a contemplative framework for self-observation, for training self-observation. The schedule for today's workshop will consist of 5 parts. The first part will be a very gentle warm-up to connect us with the body, and then it will be followed by a meditation practice. And the third part will be the documentation of the practice in the form of writing and drawing that I will guide you through. And part 4 will be an opportunity to share and discuss what emerges for you and your impressions of the practice. And finally, we'll close with a very brief meditation. So 2 key concepts before I begin, I would like to describe the contemplative framework for training self-observation. And sorry, some technical. So first is the contemplative framework for training self-observation, and this emerged from a study that I carried out in 2020 during the Sydney COVID lockdowns. The contemplative framework includes preparatory stages of stabilizing attention and observing the mind before doing the embodied practice, followed by the documentation that I already mentioned. It's essentially 2 meditation techniques that lead into the third meditation technique, which will be Tonglen, and within the practice, we'll be carrying out somatic snapshots that is a term that I use to describe a mental scan and imprint of sweeping attention through your body to notice various dimensions at play. Don't worry if all of this is sort of too much information. I will guide you through this process as it's happening. Okay, so the materials for today's workshop are essentially paper and pencils and the phone camera, if you wish. We're using, so maybe I'll give you a chance to get some paper and pencils or pens if you don't have them around you. We're going to be doing some writing and then some drawing. As I've tried to draw these in mirror. It's just to illustrate that we're not looking at the quality of the drawings, but it's just a way for you to record your experience of the practice in a non-textual way. And so you may like to use 5 sheets of paper. I leave it up to you to decide how you would like to do that. In the documentation part of the workshop, we will share a link to the Miro board that I'm in and a Padlet link. And I must remind you that all of the anything that you choose to share with the group, as Victor already mentioned, it's a friendly group, so but everything will be anonymous. All of your comments will be anonymous that you write in Miro, and also in the Padlet, you can, when you upload everything, none of your personal details will be recorded. And of course, it's completely up to you what you would like to share. So again, to run you through what we're going to be doing, this is a diagram of the data collection protocol that came out of my research, and this is essentially the activities. So we'll begin with a short meditation that will stabilize attention. and where we'll be focusing on an object, in this case, the breath. And then we'll take a short pause and I will guide you through the carrying out of the somatic snapshot. And then we're going to follow that by observing the mind, which is another very brief meditation, probably around 4 or 5 minutes. And then we'll take another snapshot at the end of that. And then we'll carry out Tonglen, the embodied practice that we're observing. And then that will be followed by a third somatic snapshot. If you'd like to read more about this protocol and the study, I've included a link here in the slides that you can check out the paper that was published in a journal recently. Okay, so before we begin with the meditation, are there any questions about anything that I have already mentioned? Okay. Right, so I invite you now to get into a comfortable position as we enter this session together. Oh, sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. I've skipped a part. I think before we begin the session, we'll start with the warm-up. So how I'd like to warm up is basically, if you're seated, I invite you to close your eyes if you wish, or lower your gaze. You can turn your camera off if that makes you feel more comfortable about doing this. It's going to be a very gentle 5-minute reconnection with our bodies as we spend a lot of time sitting down. And now I just invite you to lower your chin towards your chest and place your feet on the ground so that you can feel the ground underneath your feet. Relax the muscles in your body. Relax your head, relax your shoulders. Feel the chair underneath you. If you're sitting on the chair, feel the ground underneath you. Now gently raise your gaze towards the sky and tilt your head back so that you can now feel your neck stretching. And again, just lowering so that your chin comes to your chest. Notice your back muscles, the position of your shoulders. Once again, as we shift our gaze towards the sky, very gently tilting our head back and returning it back to neutral. If you wish, I would like you can stay seated, or if you would like to, I invite you to stand and stand next to your desk so that you can still hear me. And I just ask you now to gently raise your arms towards the sky with a breath in and reaching up and stretching, and breathing out as you lower your arms towards the ground. And again, maybe with a gentle bend in your knees, breathing in as you look up to the sky, and breathing out as you lower your arms. And one last time, breathing in with a gentle bend in the knees and raising your arms up, and breathing out. So now I just invite you to gently rotate your shoulders backwards. You can count, you can move with your breath if you wish, or simply just rotate your shoulders back. Be aware of the solidness of the ground underneath you, and take note of any tension that you have, and just try to use this exercise and use this time to simply notice without letting it worry you or focusing on it. Just notice that it's there and come back to the practice. If you haven't already, start rotating your shoulders gently forwards. And then now just back to stillness. So now, if you would like to, put your hands on your hips. And from this position, I invite you to shift your body weight to your right leg, into your right leg, and down through your right foot. From there, gently swaying to the left foot and noticing how that transition of your body weight moves from one side of your body to the other side. And from here, again, moving slowly towards the right, shifting your weight. And again, shifting to the left. And returning to the center. So gently placing your hands next to you, the last thing we're going to do is I'm just going to turn to my side. We're just going to do a forward fold a few times. So if you just gently bring your neck down and start moving down towards the ground. And here you would like to take notice of the way that your vertebrae feels as you move and shift your body weight forward. And then with your breath, if you like, you can, as you gently move back up, feel the stacking of your vertebrae one at a time. Finally, with your shoulders and your head. And we're just going to do that one more time. Nodding our heads forward and curling the shoulders and feeling the back curl down. A gentle bend in the knees so that there's no stress or pressure. And gently going as low as you can. And when you're down as far as you can, just returning back up slowly, stacking everything, stacking the joints, the knees above the ankles, the hips, the lower back, upper back, shoulders, and finally the head. Okay. Thank you all. So if you would like to now find yourself in a comfortable position as we enter into the session together, we can think, I am doing this practice to develop curiosity about the workings of my mind. We are drawing from techniques that are grounded in traditions of ancient wisdom. And we can think, may we be open and curious to new ways of connecting with our inner wisdom and awareness of consciously developing the qualities of loving kindness, empathy, courage, generosity, and so forth. We begin by settling the body, speech, and mind in their natural state. Let your awareness descend into your body. You may spontaneously feel a sense of ease, soothing, calming. Settle your body in an upright, comfortable posture so that your body feels perfectly okay to relax in this posture. Allow your body to function naturally. Blink your eyes, swallow saliva. Just let your body do anything that it naturally wants. Your eyes can be closed or slightly open or open. Signal to your body that it's okay to relax in this posture. Signal to your mind that it's okay to relax. Let go of all other thoughts and concerns and come back and enter into this meditation. With a sense of relief, let your respiration flow. Allow the breath to flow just as it would as when you're deep asleep. So much good happens when we're deep asleep. Let your body fall asleep while your mind stays awake. Settle your breathing now into its natural rhythm. unconstrained, effortless. You may choose to focus your attention on the point of your body where your breath enters your body. Perhaps it is just at the tip of your nostrils, noticing the sensation of the breath or the parts of the body that it touches. Right now, we can come to rest knowingly in the present moment, clearly illuminating the senses of the breath throughout the body. If you find your mind has been distracted with images or thoughts, gently let go and bring your mind back to this practice. Focus on your breath. Allow your breath to flow naturally. Allow your breath to follow its natural rhythm. Allow your attention to settle on the sensations of the breath. Release any tension in your body. Simply focus on the breath. If you find your mind has been distracted with images or thoughts, gently let go and bring your mind back to the practice. Focus on your breath. Allow your breath to flow naturally. As you breathe out, see it as an opportunity to release any tension in your body. Release any thoughts in your mind. As you listen to the bell, begin taking Somatic Snapshot 1. Sweep your attention now over your body to take a snapshot. There is no need to try to look for anything or hold on to anything. Just notice. What sensations, qualities, or images are you becoming aware of? What are you noticing? What comes to awareness? How are you sensing your body right now? How are you experiencing your body right now? Is there a quality or sensation that stands out? Where are you experiencing this? How does this experience happen for you? As you sweep your attention over your body, take an imprint of Somatic Snapshot 1. So just relax your attention. We'll now enter the second part of the practice of observing the mind. So now, if you agree, I invite you to bring your awareness back to your thoughts. We observe the thoughts and then we let go. No intellect. We don't analyze our thoughts. Having noted distraction or being carried away, let your first response be to relax. And whatever it is that captivated your attention, release it. If you see that you have become a bit spaced out, a bit dull, refresh your interest in this practice and focus clearly. Return the mind and observe whatever arises without being carried away. If you find your mind has been distracted, gently let go and bring your mind back to the practice. Simply observe and let go. Observing the thoughts, and then we let go. No intellect. We don't analyze our thoughts. Allow whatever comes up to be there without getting carried away by it. Simply observe and let go. Return to the mind and observe whatever arises without being carried away. It is now time to take Somatic Snapshot 2. Sweep your attention over your body and take a snapshot of what is happening for you. There is no need to try to look for anything or hold on to anything. Just notice. What sensations, qualities, or images are you becoming aware of? What are you noticing? What comes to awareness? How are you sensing your body right now? How are you experiencing your body right now? Is there a quality or sensation that stands out?
Where is this experience? Where are you experiencing this? How does this experience happen for you? As you sweep your attention over your body, take an imprint of Somatic Snapshot 2. And now just relax your attention. Have a short break. As we hear the bell, we're going to now enter into the third part of the practice, Tonglen. And so once again, I invite you to settle your mind comfortably and return to your breath. Whenever you feel ready, bring your attention inwards. See if you can be curious. See if you can find a representation of your innate goodness. Maybe it's in the form of light. You may sense it at the center of various tactile sensations. Whatever way it comes to you, it's totally fine. Think of it as a symbol of your innate generosity, love, and wisdom. See if you can regard this light also as your innate wish to be happy. As you breathe, honor that wish to be happy and allow the radiant light to spread throughout your body. Allow it to fill every cell of your body, flowing across your shoulders, across your arms, into your fingertips. Do this with each breath, breath by breath. Imagine the light flowing upwards into your neck, into your brain, into the crown of your head. Imagine your whole upper body filling with light, symbolizing a sense of loving concern for yourself. Now, I invite you to bring a person to mind. Try not to change partway through the meditation. It's all right. You can do others another time. Once you have decided who you would like to radiate loving kindness to, let your body settle comfortably. Bring this person to mind. Think about what they're doing, where they are. Allow your mind to rest on this person. Stay focused on this person throughout the meditation. Take a few moments to recollect what you know about this person, their hopes, fears, happiness, or unhappiness. Recognize that this person is just like you. This person is trying hard to find happiness and wishing not to suffer, and trying hard to avoid problems and suffering. With your attention resting lightly on your breath and still focusing on the person, as you breathe in, see if you can open your heart and breathe in a little of this person's difficulty and suffering. Maybe imagine that leaving their body and mind in the form of dark smoke breathe in some of it and let it go all the way into your heart as a ball of light. Breathe it in so that it can bring forth a compassionate response, a heartfelt wish. May you be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. We have our own share of difficulties in life, so it's not necessary to specify what the difficulty may be or what the suffering may be for this person. So just breathe in. Breathe in even a tiny measure of that darkness, the dark smoke symbolizing their pain or unhappiness. Breathe it into your heart and let it disappear into the light. Do this with the intention. May you find freedom from pain and sorrow. May you find peace and happiness within yourself. Breathing out, imagine breathing out light to completely fill up the full body of this person, touching every cell, every organ, every part of their body and mind. Bring happiness, bring joy, bring good fortune, so that you can actually imagine seeing this person become happier and happier, radiant and cheerful. Now and then, you can alternate focusing on the out-breath, the measure of your out-breath, of light from your heart, sharing your happiness, your good fortune, allowing the light to enter this person's body, bringing them physical well-being. Bring your mind a measure of joy, happiness, lightness. See if you can breathe out with the intention of loving kindness. May you have happiness and the causes of happiness. Breathing in, taking on someone's suffering and this person's suffering and pain. Imagine you taking it straight from the source of their suffering and pain. No more darkness emerges from their body, and all of this can be taken on by you and dissolved into the heart, into your light. Breathing out, you send forth the intention of bringing happiness, joy, good fortune, whatever this person may need. You imagine they are receiving it. Breathing in small measures of the dark smoke. Breathing out light. Take a good look at this person, this close one. Really feel a sense of rejoicing that this person is free from suffering and pain, and that they have found a deep happiness and joy within themselves. Allow this visualization to fade and return your attention and your awareness to the present moment. Return all your attention now to your breath, to your body sitting here in this room. It is now time to take Somatic Snapshot 3. Sweep your attention over your body and take a snapshot. There is no need to try to look for anything or hold on to anything. Just notice. What sensations, qualities, or images are you becoming aware of? What are you noticing? What comes to awareness? How are you sensing your body right now? How are you experiencing your body right now? Is there a quality or sensation that stands out? Where are you experiencing this? How does this happen for you? As you sweep your attention over your body, take an imprint of Somatic Snapshot 3. And now just relax your attention. When you are ready, I invite you to return to the Zoom room. And so now with your pieces of paper, we're going to now begin the documentation of the practice. We will begin by stream of consciousness writing. So you're invited to write whatever comes to your mind without rules or judgment. You can do this on your computer, or you can do this with paper and pencil. Feel free, if you wish, to turn your cameras off or leave them on. And we will have 5 minutes to do this. 1 more minute. Okay, 5 minutes is up. To drawing the somatic snapshots. And the way this will be done, as I mentioned, is you can free draw your somatic snapshots on a body map. I will show you an example. If you have your paper in front of you, you can draw an outline of the body, and you can use different markings. You can use words, however you feel comfortable. It can be, you can use any type of shading or lines. It's really open to interpretation. So being guided by Somatic Snapshot 1, 2, and 3, I invite you to now record these as body maps. Are there any questions about the body maps? So you can do front and back if you wish. Otherwise, you can simply draw an outline. It can be very rough. It can be like a gingerbread person as a representation of your body, and use the somatic snapshots that we took at within the practice to guide somatic snapshot 1, somatic snapshot 2, and somatic snapshot 3. So I'll let you do this for around 10 minutes. I'll check in with you at around the 5-minute mark to see how you're going. They don't have to be any, they're snapshots. So we're not expecting any type of artwork or anything. It's really lines and strokes to express the snapshots that we took during the practice. been about 5 minutes. It's been about 8 minutes now. How's everyone going? Do you think we're ready to move on? Maybe if you are ready, maybe you can give some kind of sign like thumbs up or some other emoji. Thank you. Okay, so now we'll move on to the last part of the documentation. Thanks, everyone. And that is a structured writing. So I propose to you, before we begin writing, I'll basically give you some prompts to consider, and then your writing can respond to what I've said. So I propose to you, if you agree, to return to a moment that stood out for you during the third part of the practice, where you were practicing Tonglen, the practice of giving and receiving. If you could give a sign to tell me that you have found this moment, that would be great. Maybe nodding or something. Thank you. Okay, so if you agree, I would like you to go back to this moment. And when you are there, I would like you to ask yourself, do you see anything? Describe the place or scene as you saw it at the time. Look around you again at what you were seeing then. in this place, there may be sounds as well. Do you hear anything? Find again the sounds, noises, conversations, or silence. While continuing to hear everything that you are listening to, let your sensations come back to you. At that time, in that moment, what position is your body in? At that time, do you feel anything? Retrieve the bodily sensations, the emotions. So now I invite you to start writing, again with no rules, no concern for grammar, and no judgment. Do this for a few minutes, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, that's been about 3 minutes. Do people need more time? No? Okay. All right, so maybe you are finishing what you're writing now. And at this stage of the workshop, it would be great to share whatever you feel comfortable with sharing. As I mentioned earlier, it's entirely up to you, and everything is completely anonymous that you post onto the Padlet and also onto the Miro board. So first, the logistics of sharing. The Padlet, if you would like to take photographs of anything that you have drawn in terms of the body maps or or your written words, you can take a screenshot on your computer and paste it directly to the Padlet link. The Padlet looks like this. I can see someone has already written something. You click the button at the bottom, and then you're able to upload a photograph or upload a file or write something. Likewise, if you've done everything on paper, you can take a photograph on your phone if you wish, and then maybe use this QR code, and then you'll be taken to the Padlet interface on your phone, and then you can upload directly from your gallery there. I'll give everybody a few minutes to do that. And also, if you feel comfortable, then you can also share onto the Miro board. It's up to you. But I think it would be beneficial for everybody to see the body maps. As I mentioned, there's no way of telling who did which body map. So yeah, I feel free to share. For those of you who don't wish to post anything, I would like to turn your attention to perhaps sharing your thoughts in the reflection and discussion section on the Miro board. I'll just repost the link to the Miro in the chat. Oh, my computer is bugging out. I just refresh my screen. So here in the Miro, you'll see that if you're new to Miro, you have on the left side of the screen these icons, and already in the reflection and discussion section, I invite you to reflect and comment on what you found most prominent in your experience. So you can take one of these sticky notes there, or you can use the column on the left. Sorry, that moves. And paste a sticky note down, and you just simply can type. Okay. You can make them bigger. You can use the text function here and write something as well. It's up to you. I might also just lock these so they don't move. Whew. Oh, okay, this one seems to be someone writing directly into that. That's fine. So for others, maybe who also wish to write something, you can just use the sticky notes on the left there and type in. I'll lock this. Yeah, cool. And also at this stage, for those of you, a third option, if you have any questions that have arisen during the workshop so far, then feel free to type those into the Zoom chat as well. So there are 4 questions in the reflection and discussion. The first is what you found most prominent, and then perhaps you would like to move on to what you found most enjoyable or easy about the practice. And then maybe considering what was challenging or difficult. And then maybe if you have other comments or questions, you would like to paste them into the red section of the Miro. Oh yes, I can share my screen.
So if anyone has any questions or comments, you can also post them on the chat. We can ask Kristina to answer them as well. So.
Thanks as well to those who are posting into the Padlet. Yeah, I really appreciate all the sharing. It's great. And also, if you are reading other people's comments and would like to dialogue with them through sticky notes, then I invite you to do that too. I think that's interesting that someone has written warmth coming out of the experience. I also had similar sensations after practicing, and I've noticed that some of you have written that it's quite different in between the 3 stages. I think it's interesting that we have that sense, but then I think developing the vividness of distinguishing between those 3 things, and then potentially how we express that through words or through drawing is also really interesting to observe over time. I think I'm just going to move to another side of the Miro board. I'll let you continue writing comments in response to these reflective questions. Oh gosh, hang on. Sorry about this. Hope you don't get seasick. Yeah. I also wanted to share before, as we come to the last 15 minutes of the workshop, a diagram that came out of our paper that was written with Leon Loke and Luke Hespenhall. It was about how this contemplative framework for self-observation emerged. And so what happened in this study was basically I went through this process, this method myself, and I did that over 3 months and collected data as we have done today. And then at the end of that, we tried to do a thematic analysis, but we found that what we really wanted to understand was this the unfolding nature of these processes that were occurring in the development of compassion cultivation, which is what we were studying. And so then we realized that the best way to analyze the data was using a processual analysis, where we focused on uncovering uncovering the processes that were within the practice. And we found that within cultivating compassion, 5 key thematic processes emerged. That was transforming, discovering, dissolving, realigning, and accepting. And within those themes, again, there was also sub-processes that we attributed to these key themes. And you can see as well some of the excerpts from my own written and spoken journaling that took place after collecting the data, and they're coming from different sessions. So the session number is just the S and the number at the end of it. Some of you may find that interesting to look at, and I invite you to read the paper if you are more interested in it as well. Cullen, were you about? Cullen,
yeah, I was just in talking about the practice a little bit, Kristina. I sometimes people were mentioning that the images were quite prominent, and sometimes the feelings and sensations. So, do you feel like the practice can sometimes be more about, say, an image, or how does it move between images and feelings sometimes, do you think? Did you see some results in in how people were talking about the practices that felt like there was a kind of connection between images and feelings and things?
are you talking about what people have been writing into the Miro?
Yeah, a little bit, but just also if it corresponds to some of the things you found in your research before. That might be a little bit of a broad question, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I think what I found is as we continue to collect the data in this way, just really develop a familiarity with and a granularity develops over time of how you experience things. So things that maybe you generally have a sense of warmth in your body, or you have a sensation of discomfort maybe. I think as the practice and data collection continued over time, you can really unpack those and find at a more granular level how this is happening, you know, and the perception of the front of the body and the back of the body becomes quite evident. The separation of body parts really becomes noticeable. And also, I think you return to familiar feelings, and so you are able to you develop different ways of expressing these, like developing kind of like a richness in the vocabulary of how you might describe the warmth, or how you might describe the light, for instance, like how the light occurs for you may happen through different metaphors that emerge over time. And so that's an interesting thing to witness if you continue to do this type of data collection.
I noticed also that a couple of people were talking about the using the practice, and one person had mentioned that they had been experiencing some pain, and another person, Helen, on the chat also talked about that they were doing a practice of Tonglen with their mother as they were dying. So with that kind of move between the granular and different sensations, do you feel like that this process can also help with dealing with sometimes physical or different difficulties? Do people see changes in how they experience different things as well, do you feel?
I definitely think this practice is a healing practice that can be done the way that it was taught to me, is a way of in very ordinary terms developing a better relationship with yourself, and being aware of this source of energy within yourself that you're able to share, and as a way of developing a confidence in order to extend that to others. Thank you, Leon, for posting the link to the paper. I'm not sure if I answered the question correctly, but I think that yes, it's definitely a practice for healing, and that familiarity that you generate with yourself of this internal light, as it's being symbolized, is a gradual accumulation of the confidence and willingness to extend yourself towards other people's problems or suffering.
Do you think that the reflection process that you've mentioned too could also help in that, support that in terms of deepening or guiding the person's practice? Like if they were to if the person was to use, say, the drawing or the writing and using the quadrants that you've mentioned, do you think that this would also support the practice?
What I found when I have run this workshop in the past is that the way that the documentation works is as a way of developing the researcher's ability to accurately and vividly express what they're feeling. So the first section of just doing stream of consciousness, where anything comes to mind, that is kind of a way of just sort of like releasing like some of the thoughts that may have come up through the practice, and then really using the somatic snapshots as a sampling method of the practice. And I mean, that probably it needs further refinement, but that was the idea of using the snapshots as a way of sampling the experience at different points in order to distinguish the changes of the body during the practice, and then collected over time. Obviously, then you'd be able to see the unfolding of supposedly what the practice brings, which is the cultivation of compassion within a person. And I think that developing the visual language for that, and also a vocabulary and language around that, is very interesting and can be used for design, and also for have other applications.
So the body is kind of like the snapshot is kind of like a check-in in some respects, but it can also provide you that kind of a different perspective on something. Is that what I'm hearing you talk about?
Yeah, that's right. I think that in many Eastern practices, the first person inquiry is foregrounded as the embodied understanding as an essential part of constructing a deep understanding of any phenomenon.
So I mean, I'm just mentioning this because as we're going through the practice, it just strikes me that so many of these tools could be useful for an ongoing meditation practice, as well as within the context that you're providing it. And it just feels like this is opening up a range of different possibilities, not just from the Tonglen, but in almost any other form. So yes, it's really fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's necessarily I can take the credit for that one, but because I have really drawn upon other researchers' work into, I mean, the stabilizing attention and observing the mind is strongly influenced by shamatha meditation, which is a Buddhist meditation, and also Mahamudra meditation, which also comes from Tibetan Buddhist tradition. And just using that as a framework to first soften the mind and develop an openness in order to observe oneself as a researcher doing the practice. So it's really arguing for this researcher, practitioner perspective that would be foregrounded in the way that we carry out the research.
Yeah, that's a fantastic perspective, and it's really empowering. And so I'll just invite also anyone else, if any other questions, if you'd like to, I can pass them on to Kristina in the chat if you any other comments or questions before we go on before I drop away.
I will mention that yeah, this was just sort of a taster of the practice, and I am hoping to run a formal study as well. So if you're interested in doing that, or even just simply interested in carrying on carrying on this conversation and discussing more about maybe how our work might overlap, I just will post my last slide. This is how you can get in contact with me.
We'll be sending this out as well in a follow-up email to participants.
Yeah,
so contact.
link. The gallery, the exhibition is still available to view online, if that's interesting for you. But yeah. Oh, actually, before we leave, Cullen, do you mind if we do a
Yes.
brief 1 minute meditation, just so that we don't all leave with the analytic mind?
I'll just drop out.
Okay. So thank you very much for your attention, everyone. And before we go, as we return to whatever we were doing before we entered this workshop, I invite you to take this last couple of minutes to bring your awareness back into the body. And if you agree, I invite you to recall the moment of recognizing the representation of your own innate goodness as radiant light. You can close your eyes here for the last minute, or lower your gaze as we return inward, and take a moment to reconnect with the sensations and experiences and experience of this moment. We re-enter the moment through the natural rhythm of the breath. Perhaps you would like to gently place your hand on a part of your body as you feel, as you breathe, and allow yourself to feel the light flowing through your body. As you breathe out, honor that wish to be happy and allow the radiant light to spread throughout your body. Allow it to fill every cell of your body, flowing across your shoulders, across your arms, into your fingertips, and do this with each breath. Feel this as a representation of your innate goodness and your genuine sense of loving concern that is accessible at any moment for you. And when you're ready, I invite you to return to the Zoom room. And that concludes today's workshop on understanding Tonglen.
Thanks very much. It was terrific, Kristina.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cullen.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kristina.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Cullen.
And
thank you, everyone.
We'll be back in touch. We'll send out some emails to kind of Christine will send out with some extra details from the practice, but we're also referring back to her work. But I'd encourage you all to take what you absorb some of what you can today. But I feel like it would be really good to talk about some ways that we could kind of engage with the tools and the practice in an ongoing way. So if anyone has any kind of suggestions, look, we're really happy to hear your comments and find some ways that we can bring this material to you in a different kind of way, or the same way, or however. So thank you, Kristina, for the workshop today, and thank you everyone for joining us. So please subscribe to the Centre's newsletter to stay informed about this and upcoming events hosted by the Contemplative Study Centre. We really look forward to seeing you, and we hope to hear from you in terms of how everything went today. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Kristina.
Thank you.